Awesome.
All right, so good morning, happy Sunday. My soul is just celebrating so much right now, and I just wanted to share this moment with you. Like this divine, amazing goddess, this portal of this vortex of transformation, Marci Locke. I haven't
Sundari now.
a Sundari.
Also my spiritual name.
So I literally haven't been physically with Marci in three and a half years. I don't know. It's been a while, and my journey obviously has taken me on my path and all sorts of transformation and breakthroughs and forgetting and remembering and all sorts of things. And meanwhile, Marci, my whole experience of her is just watching her journey on Facebook and seeing her traveling and exploring the world and just being fully tapped in, more than any human being I've ever met, fully tapped into the magical divine flow of the universe. And Marci's always been a really powerful magical force in my life and for other people's lives, and so my heart is just I'm so excited. My heart is so happy to be in the presence of this woman. So we have a few minutes before we go into this crystal shop, and I'm like, Marci, let's do a Facebook Live. And here's the thing about Marci is she's just a flow of divine cosmic wisdom. So for anyone that happens to be joining us at this moment, just open your heart, open your mind, and
was that your warning in a very specific way? Watch out. You never know what's going to come out of her mouth.
You have no idea.
You don't know what she's going to do. That was your pretty way of saying, open your heart.
Open your heart. Just trust.
See if it resonates. If it doesn't resonate, it's okay. Just keep yourself open, because this woman, she goes places that most people don't go.
She's unfiltered in whatever cosmic energy.
I am unapologetically expressed in unconditional acceptance of myself and all beings.
No, let's talk about that, because I think that so many people feel restricted in who they can be and how they show up, and there's so many times, especially when we've forgotten who we are, that we live a very diminished version of ourselves contained by all of these rules that are placed upon. How do you access that level of unapologetic
It's a moment by
expression?
moment choice, right? Because the moment, it's I have so many stories thinking of you, right? I was saying to Ben, who's holding the camera here from Australia, he's in my retreat.
We gotta introduce Ben
Sexy
here.
Ben, blissful Ben.
Sexy blissful Ben. Right, awesome.
He's here for my medicine retreat that we're doing this week, and we were just saying how on your stage was the first time I said fuck. The first time I let the fuck word fly. And I was sharing a story the other day about how as we choose to love ourselves, we can never receive anything outside ourselves that's not from us. So we can't wait till someday someone will show me that I'm enough, and then I'll be enough, and then I'll love myself. It starts here. And so I remember back in the day, back in the day when I was doing TV.
And both of us grew up in this very strict. Mormon upbringing where the word fuck or drinking caffeine,
wearing a tank top. I remember people
were
are you
all of these
worthy?
things are so bad and forbidden. We grew up with all of these strict rules of how you should show up and what you need to do in order to be quote unquote worthy. And so saying fuck would be oh my gosh, that's so
so I remember when I chose, I was I choose to be a vessel of truth. Whatever comes through gets to come through. And then I'm on stage in Utah. This is when I first started speaking back in the day. This was 10 years ago? How long ago was this? 5 years ago? I have no concept of time. Anyways, and I remember the word fuck wanted to come through, and I stifled it. And after I was wow, okay, interesting, what is that about? And I said, what is my story around this word? That if I choose to be an open channel, why would I not trust what wants to come through? And it was that the word would mean, if in our in Utah society or in that society, the word would mean I'm a bad person. It's shameful. It's and so it was oh my gosh, I would think that people would not actually receive the message. If they heard the word fuck, they'd turn not down and go, I'm not going to hear this message that you're the light of God and that you are all things, because I use the word fuck. And I questioned the word, and I thought, interesting, why would, if a word gives you power, who's in power if the word is in control, right? If someone goes, I swear, and I go, I don't, oh my gosh, it's horrible. And then what we're doing is we're creating resistance, we're creating separation, which is blocking manifestation. So as I questioned all these things, I was it was just my scared little girl was afraid I'd be rejected, that people wouldn't like me, that I didn't fit in, that they wouldn't hear the message of truth, that they'd judge me to be bad and wrong. And I was interesting, maybe the word fuck wanted to come through me because God knew that that's what exactly was meant to trigger them, that's what took them out of their boundaries of judgment and safety, etc., right? So the next time I was on stage, it wanted to fly, and I let it fly, and
Well, and it's so powerful, and just looking at your journey, and the word fuck is an interesting metaphor for how we withhold our expression, you know, and for some people maybe it's an expression of how they dress, or for other people maybe they have like a really deep spiritual gift, but they're afraid to share it because they might be judged, or maybe they see angels, or maybe they have like these other things, but they don't want other people to know of these spiritual gifts, because what would people think if they, and so even though we're like using the word fuck as a metaphor here, like it really is
This
representative.
is him doing cleanup work.
Well, it's really representative of like how everyone has these elements where they withhold, and I notice especially like there's certain people when we're around them, like it's so easy to be fully expressed. Like when I'm with you or Ben, or like these people like this higher elevation. But I also notice that there's certain people that I've been around in the past where I felt so restricted and so diminished and so afraid to fully show up in the full magnitude of my being. And so like what for you is like the biggest thing that someone can do to like access that unapologetic?
Well, what I was saying is it's a micro alignment. It's not a macro. I don't just, like that
I love
notice.
That micro alignment.
Yeah, it's like I'm genius at the micro. Like, because the micro alignment, the little thing that's off is going when we practice that. So if I practice expressing myself every day, if I practice by going, okay, I notice I'm wanting this, but I don't even feel safe to say that to my lover or my, spouse or someone in my life, and I can start to pray, hey, you know what, I notice I really would love this, and this is what, how could we create that? And I can start to practice speaking up, and I can start to practice expressing myself in a small micro alignment way, because whatever belief systems you have are operating in every single realm, every field, right? So like I was saying is that if I'm choosing to go, I accept myself fully, I get to any moment that I'm out of alignment with that, I might catch myself in the mirror and go, I wish and I was like, oh, interesting. And I go, oh, sweetie, I love you. And I create a new program, a new neural pathway, a new belief system, a new anchoring into my system. Because otherwise I'm anchoring the same chemical addictions of suffering and sacrifice, and I'm not worthy of being expressed, I'm not worthy of being heard. So you even mentioned it, you saw me like catapult, right? Yet you saw, I had to start with those moments going, even to say fuck on stage was another level of like, can I say this? And it doesn't matter if someone judges me or doesn't like me, because I know I'm just a reflection of what's inside them that they're still unwilling to heal and love. And so it's okay.
And I just want to like emphasize something Marci's saying. It's like in these micro alignments, it really is like returning to love with ourselves, right? And getting outside of other people's perceptions, or generating our personal experience based on other people's, our perception of other people's perceptions, because it's not really about their perceptions at all. It's like what we think that they think about us, right? And so
we're all having our own experience.
In the space when we reconnect to this deep space of internal self-love, then all of a sudden, like, why would we ever filter how that love is expressed through us?
Well, and this is the thing, when we know on the higher realm or the higher understanding is that whatever I'm trying to suppress or control is controlling me. And so I'm actually only limiting the amount of love when I try to control it, and I go, okay, well, I'll get on stage. So you know this because I got this for years, where people are like, if you just, as I learn to give myself permission to express more and more and unapologetically to me, people will be like, if you just calm it down, if you just stop this, then you probably have. And I was like, well, results don't lie. I literally took off and catapulted, had $1 million clients, and it was, I think what freed people was, there's that example of liberation.
Well, and I saw this so many times when you come speak at our events, and these women, especially that had been like really confined, and they were afraid of expressing themselves, and they were afraid of judgment and all this, they would see you say fuck, they would see you show up without a script, they would see you show up in this really unapologetic way, and in a way your expression, your being, then gave them permission
so many of
to
them.
express themselves so much.
And with the ones that were like, I don't like her, she's too much, I was like, cool.
That's cool.
Protection, rejection equals protection. It actually is, you're not ready for me. And I know I'm just a reflection of what inside you still gets to be healed and loved. So obviously if I'm this and it's scary for someone to speak up, they're going to see that as either a wow, I want to be that, or they're going to see it as like, that's too much, I can't do it. So it always comes back to the micro alignment. It's like in my day today, and this is where I go into like underlying frequencies, unseen, unconscious commitments, like what we're actually anchoring into our environment every day. I did a whole training around how it's not just the 5 people around. We do this whole like surface, like, oh, your life is like the 5 people around. Yes, they're a reflection of what you're creating and you're believing. Yet what you're thinking every moment, when you wake up in the morning and you go, oh, that's right. Like you wake up and you go, I'm Gerald. What does Gerald look like? What does Gerald feel like? What does Gerald, be like? You re-anchor in all of what you believe Gerald to be. So that's your past traumas, your experiences. Then you get up and you do the same thing, because 95% of what you do is memorize. So you go to the bathroom and you have the same thoughts in the same rooms, and you have the same, and we're just reconstructing the same unconscious commitments. And so the moment we catch the micro and go, wait, is this in alignment with my highest divine self? Is this the most nourishing thing for my soul? Is this like, does whatever I'm thinking, speaking, believing, is that reflect my divinity right now? Doesn't, then let's realign and let's choose something new that we can. So that's the micro alignment. That comes to like, oh, that's right. I can even love the part of me that doesn't feel safe to, it's not like unconditional self-acceptance is accepting all things. So we, in the spiritual realm, we go, okay, I really like this. I promise I'm good with it. I'm cool. Is it gone? Is it gone? Is it gone? Oh, I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it, right? Like, that's not radical self-acceptance. Self-acceptance is you're really like, you're in the shadows, you're in the depth, you're in all things. And you can even say, I love my sweet little girl that she's even scared to want that thing, or and to love me exactly where I'm at. So it always comes back to love.
Yeah, and in that journey of self-love, like really learning how to accept the shadow within us. And what's beautiful about like when we unlock this vault of self-love, and we can love the deepest, darkest, most forbidden parts of us and celebrate that. Then it gives access for us to experience the full dimension of our life.
Range equals your capacity. So the range you're willing to go in the depth of all things. Again, the why, if I'm triggered by somebody, but I just go, oh, I'm not going to look at that way. My range is here, right? But if I'm willing to go, ooh, interesting that this reflection from why is this showing up in my life? Why, what is this about that I feel resistance to another being, another thing, and I'm willing to go into my depths and love all parts of me. I'm going in deeper range. Now my range, because I'm willing to go here, allows me to go here in the heights of my bliss and my joy and my abundance and my pleasure, because my range equals my capacity.
I love that too, and then that then gives us ability to stop judging others, because anytime we're judging another person, it's just a self-judgment, period, right? And so
and that's actually blocking manifestation, which I think a lot of people don't realize and get.
So true.
Any separation at all. I don't even, when people say, someone the other day like wanted to buy one of my programs, but they're like, but are you vegan? And I was like, well, isn't it interesting that if I even call myself a thing, then there creates a separation. Like, I agree with you, I don't agree with this. So we've created in our human conditioning just separation, right? And it doesn't even matter if I don't eat meat, etc. I was like, well, isn't it interesting that you wouldn't buy a program that's actually calling to you based on the information that you're going to receive to help you evolve, based on a separation game, a thought. So all these thoughts create our own suffering. So when we break it down, it's like, actually, any resistance to I always say, any resistance to anyone, anything is literally creating a block in manifestation in your life, because it's a block energy. It's I'm cutting you off versus I'm open to receive. So yeah, we get to love all things, all beings, all people. All of it.
Marci locking down the truth.
Oh my God, I haven't even used that for years.
Sundari like the divine.
The evolution of us, right? Isn't that so funny though? It's I started as a personal trainer on TV doing nutrition, fitness, mindset
you started
expert.
as a waitress at Olive Garden.
Right, $2 waitress after
a fitness trainer that then emerged into
like
a transformation leader
coach,
that then evolved into the goddess of
See?
ultimate creation.
Right. I like that, divine goddess of greatness.
I know,
That's
it's
what
fun.
My phone calls me. My phone says I'm divine goddess of greatness. I say, if I pull out my phone, I say, what's my name? It says, hello, divine goddess of greatness.
Mine says the king. I'm just the king. Yes, how can I help you,
how can I help you, king?
Yeah, it's been fun. Like 10 years we've known each other, and in that probably, at least for me, like 20 different lifetimes. Probably you about 50 lifetimes. But hopefully you've enjoyed like being able to experience this amazing goddess of light. She dropped about 50 massive like truth bombs on you. Like this like would be worth going back and watching and pausing and writing and journaling for an hour, watching another 5 seconds, pausing, journaling for another hour.
Like I always says, he does my trainings and has to stop and take them in.
Like seriously,
so deep.
So many of those
depth.
like really outrageous truth bombs, and so I just my light in me celebrates and honors and just worships the divine goddess of you. I'm so grateful to have you in my life. And for Ben on the other side of this camera, thank you so much for being.
You're welcome.
So,
That was beautiful.
I
love hearing it all. My pleasure.
And for everyone out there on this amazing day, like, just go celebrate you. Be the fullest, most unapologetic expression of you. Whatever your heart feels called to, bring to the world, do that. And do that without fear, because you're safe.
Or love your fear.
And love your fear.
Or say, oh, it's okay that I've
it's
got
so
fear.
cute,
'Cause
right?
It's just a thought. That's not really
honor
me.
that little child that's afraid of,
right.
of
It's
rejection.
your
or-
fear will actually give you freedom. If you lean into your fear, that will give you freedom. But if you run from your fear, you're fucked.
Boom! And with that, just go and remember you've got one life to live.
So live big.
Live big.
I remember it. Woo!